Prime Minister fields a number of questions at the continuation of the Central Committee meeting on Friday. Celebrity Cruises will home port the Celebrity Millennium in St. Martin as of June 2021. And Minister of Justice says that she is desirous of seeing a lot more of Coast Guard recruitment drives. Those are the headlines from Monday, March the 22nd, 2021. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie from Pitton. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast prepared for you, so let's get started. In our first story, successful is how the communications officer of the Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard, Shalik Clément, described the organization's second edition recruitment day over the weekend. The purpose of the job fair, which took place at the Coast Guard substation in Simpson Bay on Saturday last, was to attract as many young men and women to join the law enforcement agency. Despite the heavy downpour and windy conditions Saturday morning, many of the island's youngsters braved the inclement weather in an effort to get a better understanding as to the work of a Coast Guard officer in keeping residents safe and that they too can be part of an organization. However, it takes a lot of hard work, determination, and dedication. During the event, the many young men and women were given a tour of the facility. They were introduced to various weapons while given a crash course as to how they work. They also had the opportunity to board the vessel station in Simpson Bay, including the Coast Guard cutter Puma. They were also shown a short video highlighting some of the functions of the personnel of the organization and also took part in a short training stint. The prospective lawmen and women were also treated to a low-fly overhead by the Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard Dash 8 aircraft. On hand for the job fair on Saturday were, among other persons, the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs, the Honorable Minister of Justice, Anna Richardson, as well as some parents of youngsters interested in becoming Coast Guard officers. The Honorable Minister of Justice, Anna Richardson, who expressed her gratitude to the organizers on the job fair, told our news department and the Voice of St. Martin's news department that she is desirous of seeing a lot more of these recruitment drives.
First of all, I'm so happy to see the large turnout of youth that are here today, both male and female. And, they have given us a tour about the different aspects within the Coast Guard. They've taken us onto the vessels so that the youth are able to get a little bit of an introduction as to what they can expect. There's even an opportunity for them to do some push-ups and learn what the heavy aspect of training is involved to be a part of the Coast Guard. I in particular have a very special place of liking for the Coast Guard because I like the discipline that comes along with it, and I would actually like to see this level of discipline be done throughout the Ministry of Justice, every aspect of agencies within our law enforcement program. But to see the number of students or the number of youth that have come out today is quite pleasure. It's really a good thing to see, and I'd like to see more females as well. We have a lot of young men. There are some girls in the midst, and I'd like to see some more females come out also. We're looking at having this be done at least once a year, and Captain Livingstone was giving me some insight that even before COVID, they would have open houses where Anguilla and other islands would come also to these open houses, and it's really interesting to see Coast Guards from other islands, countries coming in, even the US he mentioned. So I'm looking forward to us being able to bring that back and give more interest to our young men and women on the island that there are opportunities here.
And still with the Coast Guard, the Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard will be starting its training classes for the next group of 20 young men and women within short. This is slated to commence sometime in August of this year. Also speaking to reporters on Saturday, the communications officer of the organization, Shalik Clément, expressed total satisfaction with the level of interest that they were able to generate during the job fair on Saturday.
We had the first one in 2019. Unfortunately, we didn't have the second edition in 2020 because of the COVID pandemic. But this year, because we now have some measurements which we can apply, like mask and hand sanitizing and registration, and we thought it was so successful, we have to repeat it and take all the good measurements in COVID to protect ourselves. What we have to go. So we organize it and we are very happy. We had bad weather this morning, but I was so surprised of the quantity of youngsters that came. Although it was bad weather, it was very windy, very rainy, but we had a great group of youngsters coming in, boys and girls interesting to become Coast Guard officers.
And of course, there will be guidelines that they will have to follow in order to achieve their goal in becoming Coast Guard officers. Remind us again as to some of the things that they will have to do to be successful, if at least accepted with the Coast Guard.
So first, to start with, they have to have the Dutch nationality. They have to live in Sint Maarten, be between 18 to 25 years. Boys and girls are welcome, as I said. They can have a criminal record. The record has to be clean. They cannot have lenses and glasses. There's a reason for that, because in the action, if you may lose your glasses or your lenses, you put yourself in danger and also your team. But sometimes there is a but. After the medical examination, because we have a medical examination, a physical examination, a psychology examination, so we have a few tests that will determine who is going through to go to the training. So if someone is wearing glasses or someone is wearing lenses, I recommend to come and apply, although, because sometimes after the medical test it can result that they can go through the training. And last but not least, they do have to have a basic basics of the Dutch language and have a swim diploma.
And turning now to other news, the Honorable Minister with responsibility for TEAT, Ludmila de Wever, announced on Friday last, March the 19th, that the Celebrity Cruises will homeport the Celebrity Millennium in St. Martin as of June of this year. The TEAT minister made the disclosure while speaking at a press conference held in Oyster Bay on Friday. Having a major cruise line homeport here is a significant economic milestone for St. Martin and other step in our path to economic recovery, the minister stated, adding that it did not happen just by chance. It's the fruit of continuous dialogue and building on a long-standing relationship with the Celebrity Cruise brand. This historic agreement is the culmination of that long-standing relationship, the minister emphasized.
Since the pandemic began, the Royal Caribbean Group and our ministry have been in constant touch, maintaining our friendship and exploring all opportunities for the quickest resumption of cruise tourism possible. This historic agreement is the culmination of that long-standing relationship. The Royal Caribbean Group reaffirmed their confidence in St. Martin as a destination and cruise attraction, as well as their confidence in the Ministry of TEAT as a reliable and responsible partner. Celebrity Cruises homeporting here will help rejuvenate our economy and drive opportunities for our people. The opportunities are endless. It is hotel nights, it is transportation, whether big tour companies or taxi drivers, bus drivers, restaurants, provisioning from supermarkets, and the list goes on. More than just a typical cruise call, having a major cruise ship docked here means that guests' vacation will begin and end here, giving them opportunities to explore and experience all that this fantastic island has to offer. It means our taxi drivers, tour operators, shops, Phillipsburg actually, and the hotels will benefit and bring back jobs. And this is revenue that will be generated for our government to maintain our vital public services. I would like to thank the management team at Royal Caribbean Group for their commitment to St. Martin, and I look forward to a successful relaunch of their Caribbean cruising.
And still to come, Sharon Kanagiter is the new president of WICSU PSU. And I'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
Hi, I'm Switch.
And I'm Save.
And together we're here
to tell you about WIB, Switch, and Save Mortgage Offer.
Now at WIB, you can save and benefit from great specials when you decide
to bring your mortgage to WIB.
When you switch, WIB will offer you
payment of penalty fees up to 3 months interest,
payment of notary fees,
waive of bank closing fees,
and also the lowest interest rate.
Plus, you'll have the chance to win back 1 year of interest payment.
Visit any of WIB's mortgage specialists and benefit from WIB's Switch and
Hey, that's my part. And Save Mortgage Offer.
WIB, your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we turn now to other news, the Windward Island Civil Servants Union, Public Servant Union, WICSU, PSU rather, held its executive board election on Friday, March the 19th. During the elections, members of the organizations elected the following persons, namely Sharon Kanagiter to the position of president. Sharon Fleming Richardson will occupy the general secretary slot, while Francisco Mariana has been voted in as treasurer of the organization. The executive board will be in place until 2024. The newly elected president, Sharon Kanagiter, spoke to the Voice of St. Martin's news department.
I am pleased with the outcome. I'm pleased with the turnout. I am happy with my team, and I look forward to working on behalf of the workers.
How soon will the board members be activated?
I was instructed that it is normally 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes it can happen within a week, depending on the availability of the notary and the registration at the chamber. However, we do have holidays coming up, which is the Easter break. So we have to take that into consideration, and thereafter we will be officially installed.
Now that you have been elected as a new executive board of the WICSU PSU, what will be your initial focus?
My initial focus is to gain back the trust of the workers and also to open the communication line between the union and the members.
Remind us, if you may, as to who your new executive board members are, Ms. Kanagiter.
In the position of treasurer, we have Mr. Francisco Mariana. In the position of general secretary, we have Ms. Sharon Richardson Fleming. And in the position of president, you have my person, Sharon Kanagiter.
Now that the board has been elected, how soon do you meet with your membership to at least bring them up to par as to the developments within WICSU PSU?
Once we are officially installed, that is the first order of the day, that our members will be called to a general meeting and our way forward will be divulged to them. We would also have the communication where we will be hearing their concerns, and that will pave the road forward for the new team.
And as we continue now in other news, the House of Parliament sat in a Central Committee meeting on March 19, 2021. The committee meeting was a continuation of the meeting which was adjourned on March the 1st to discuss the country reform package's priorities and objective measures for 2021. Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvia Jacobs, who is also Minister of General Affairs, fielded questions from Member of Parliament, the Honorable Claudius Boncamper, from the previous meeting regarding the changes from the CFT and getting information from government entities.
Agreed to changes that govern the CFT, especially the reference with regards to the CFT getting information from government entities. Has the communication with the CFT improved? The communication with CFT remains as it was, an open one. The Ministry of Finance is the designated contact point for the CFT in requesting information. What was the objective of the last 3 pages of the presentation? I believe I answered that in the first answer. The country package, a final document in agreement with the Netherlands. Agreement is that on the basis of the country package, implementation agenda will be drafted. The process to be followed, I believe, has also been answered. Is the government planning to complete the process? And when I said that in answering the questions now, it was just answered a few minutes ago. Is the government planning to complete the process with the governing program and the NDV right now, while we should be working on the implementation agenda? The process will be completed as the NDV is a long-term vision for St. Martin. The reform measures of the implementation agenda, as is the case with several other ongoing initiatives, must align to ensure that all noses are pointed in the same direction. By doing so, government anchors development for St. Martin and has a straight, direct line towards the goal we have towards 2030. The NDV, if you can remember, was established for 2020 to 2030 and would include initiatives that are currently ongoing, whether through a trust fund, whether through other initiatives, and now through the country package and government's budget, of course. What liquidity assistance for the fourth tranche has been received? As I mentioned previously, 8.7 million guilders as an advance, and no further liquidity support was deemed necessary for the first quarter. Seeing the current liquidity position, the CFT advised the Kingdom Council of Ministers that there was no additional support needed for the first quarter, and therefore the discussions for the next tranche would be for as of April 1st. Based on the CFT letter, is the CFT already deciding that what will be in the budget based on the country package? I refer the MP to the previously answered question of 7 of Mr. MP Bunkamper. The CFT does not decide on our budget, but provides its advice based on Article 11 of the Kingdom Act, Financial Supervision of Curaçao and St. Martin. And as we know, the Kingdom Council of Ministers leans very heavily on the advice of the CFT in approving or disapproving any type of liquidity support. Do we already know the amount to construct the prison? What will trickle of financial relief? The Netherlands has already indicated that it will make 30 million euros available for the prison project, of which 20 million for the building of the prison, and is directly earmarked. 20 million directly earmarked for the draft project proposal St. Martin Rule of Law facilities and the construction of a new prison, and the additional 10 million euros, as stated by the Netherlands, to be used for future general improvements to St. Martin's detention system, so outside of the prison.
And the Prime Minister also fielded questions from the independent member of Parliament, the Honourable Christophe Emmanuel, regarding the taxing of the old age pension, the government justifying increasing the pensionable age, the freezing of salaries of civil servants, cutting into their benefits to reduce personal costs, and the budget of 2021.
Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, I now go to the questions of MP Emmanuel. First, how does the government justify increasing the pensionable age, freezing salaries of civil servants, cutting into their benefits to reduce personnel costs, while at the same time, the budget 2021 has an intention to hire 155 new employees, which result to a 3.5% increase of personnel costs compared to 2020. The measures imposed reflect the conditions as set by the Netherlands in order for St. Martin to receive necessary liquidity support in the form of loans. As a country, we made operational cuts as well, even prior to that, and other suggestions to lower our expenditures we would have preferred not to have taken the measures as mentioned above. The measures do not reflect a hiring stop. As such, the draft budget 2021 includes hiring of key personnel needed to be able to function at the level that is expected of a government administration. In answering question 8, a little bit lower down, I will give further explanation on the additional hiring of personnel from the 2021 budget. Regarding the pension age increase, please be informed that the feasibility of the pension fund was and is still reliant on this last increase that we had to do. If we are to ensure that the pension fund remains financially sound and able to pay our pensions when it is due, it is also important to ensure that proper financial management is implemented. And of course, we will continue to seek ways to avoid having to raise the pensionable age again, as I think I mentioned earlier in the presentation. During the public meeting, question 2, the Member of Parliament asked, during the public meeting of the handling of, among others, the National Ordinance on the law to reduce civil servants' benefits with a 12.5% and cuts aimed at a reduction of costs of personnel, cuts meant to generate savings and be in solidarity with the private sector, can the Prime Minister confirm if this statement was accurate? I indeed stand behind this statement. It had not changed. Persons are to remember the context within these very tough decisions had to be made. Besides what I have explained about the conditions of the Netherlands, St. Martin found itself in a position whereby any private sector company would have had to also take very tough decisions, which we see the repercussions of throughout St. Martin. It was also true that there were months during the height of the pandemic that the cash flow of government was almost nihil because the economy was in a complete standstill. As such, cost-cutting measures indeed had to be implemented, which are broader than just salary benefits that we tend to focus on because our preference is and remains not to cut into salaries.
And turning now to this item from the police department, the management of the St. Martin Police Force, KPSM, has confirmed that a police officer with the initials FLMP-T was arrested by the National Detectives early Friday morning, March the 19th, 2021. In a statement released, the KPSM said that they would like to emphasize that this colleague is now also a suspect and that, just like any other citizen, his guilt must be proven. The investigation is now underway, which we, as an organization, will wait before we can respond properly. We were informed about the ongoing investigation, and we are, of course, cooperating fully with the national detectives. The management of KPSM stands for a police force with integrity, and if there are any issues of misconduct are raised, we will therefore see to it that this investigation is carried out fairly and impartial. The judicial system will be put to work, and we will deal with the inappropriate criminal behavior. No further comments into this investigation can be divulged at the moment, as this investigation into the culpability of this officer is still in its early stages. Now, turning to our weather forecast for March 22nd, 2021, the Atlantic high pressure ridge is the dominant feature across the region. Meanwhile, patches of low moisture drifting across the local area is forecast to trigger a few brief showers. Weak, long-period northerly swells are expected to produce seas up to 7 feet during this forecast. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution. So the outlook through Wednesday midday, fair to partly cloudy with isolated showers possible. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Minister of Tayat says finances is needed to get things done. And I'll have the details to that story when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast. Fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. And now in news out of Willemstad, Curaçao, in a Facebook message, outgoing Prime Minister Eugene Roegenaeth thanked the people of Curaçao for the support they have given him, the cabinet and his party, PAR, in the last 4 years. 11,788 people voted for the Yellow Party, gaining 4 seats in Parliament, 2 less than 4 years ago. The outgoing Prime Minister says that he is proud to have served the country. I am proud that I have been able to keep my promise to you, a stable government. According to Roegenaeth, the country has faced many challenges and it has not been easy. But despite that, I remained focused on my task as a leader, the well-being of everyone in Curaçao and Curaçao as a country. In it, nothing has prevented him from doing his job with love and perseverance. I was able to lay the foundation for Curaçao, and I would have liked the opportunity to continue that work, said the outgoing Prime Minister. Roegenaeth said that the people decided, and that is what they did in the elections. I respect this decision. We live in a living democracy. During the elections, there was a big turnout, and I am therefore happy to see how many people have used their right to go out and vote. The outgoing Prime Minister also congratulated Gilmar Peak Pisas on his party's victory and wished him all the best in his position. Undersecretary Raymond Knops also congratulated the winners and especially the MFK on their victory. I have since been in contact with Mr. Pisas and the governor. In those conversations, I indicated that I am counting on a continuation of the good cooperation that I have had with the government in recent years. Knopp says that he has been in contact with Prime Minister Roegenaeth and has also thanked him for the excellent cooperation and his leadership. And now, as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, Minister of TEA, the Honorable Ludmila de Wever, speaking at last Wednesday's March 17th Council of Ministers weekly press briefing, fielded a question from a reporter regarding a marketing perspective for the island. The minister was also asked about the airlines and the record number of passengers who are starting to fly, as well as working with our travel partners to get them here.
Is finances to actually get things done. That is a huge constraint on accomplishing anything. Nonetheless, even with that constraint, it actually pushes you to become a whole lot more creative on how you can actually get marketing out there when you're constrained, when you're having a financial constraint. So that's why I asked you if you have my phones tapped, because I've been on the planning meeting with the harbor and airport and NRPB on how we can sort of combine or pool our funds to do marketing, because one of the things that the world needs to know, of course, with the assistance of the tourism office, so let's not forget that they're part of the ministry. But one of the things the world needs to be aware of is that St. Martin is one of the freest places out there right now with the lowest numbers. And even though earlier on I said that we were extending business hours, what people need to remember is that the ministerial regulation still is in effect. And I have absolute faith in our people that we will continue to operating in a safe manner, that we can keep those numbers down, continue increasing the vaccination rollout, continue signing up, registering to receive the vaccine so that we can show the world that we're ready. Let me not even try and mince words. The conversation that I had a couple days ago with the cruise sector is that they were happy to see how much St. Martin was accomplishing with its vaccine rollout, because of the fact that there is so much sort of fear out there with vaccine, and that is a huge it's a huge advantage for us as a country.
And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.